All right, welcome back to Salt City Counseling, everybody. Once again, my name is Scott Carter. I'm a licensed therapist here in the beautiful state of Utah. If you're new here, I hope you will subscribe. I do a lot of videos on personality disorders, high conflict divorce and custody, parenting, teen issues, and those types of things. Sometimes I do videos on mental health in general. If you have a viewer question about some of those topics, you can email me, scottc at saltcitycounseling.com. I can do a video on it. You will remain anonymous. And I do have some other housekeeping items, but I want to talk about what this video is going to be about. This is about borderline personality disorder. Now, I think the BPD, the borderline personality disorder videos can be a bit controversial. And some people I think a lot of people like them. I think a lot of people like getting insights about this particular disorder. Borderline personality disorder, in truth, is probably the most complicated mental illness that I personally encounter or have worked with or have dealt with. In this video, I'm going to talk about one of the reasons why they do so poorly in therapy. And really, I think there are a lot of factors, and this to me is one of the biggest ones. Why do those with borderline personality disorder do so poorly in therapy is what I'm going to talk about. So make sure that you like, subscribe if you find this interesting, useful, or helpful. Yeah, you know what to do, man. Hit those buttons. I will have probably many other videos on borderline personality disorder in the future. One of the reasons why I know so much about it and I understand it so well is because I had a friend who had reintegrated from BPD or borderline, and she taught me a lot about it, a lot. And I've talked about this in other videos, but learning about this disorder from someone who is reintegrated from it is, to me, the best way to learn about it and understand it. And for the record, I do very much believe that people can recover from borderline. It's very possible. The recovery rate, the rate of which people with borderline do have ended up with a good result in therapy is really low. But I really believe that it has a lot to do with it. They are misunderstood and that the approaches are probably not what they need. I'm personally a work in progress as too. I don't claim to be able to create miraculous results. I've tried a few approaches that I feel like are a little bit more effective than some of the other ones. Traditional therapy, not that effective. But in this particular video, I'm just going to talk about one of the barriers, probably to me, the largest barrier, and in terms of why they do not improve. So before I get into that, if you like my content a lot, obviously subscribe. But please also hit the tip jar. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, all those links are in the description below. Your gratuity is much appreciated. Will help keep content like this moving for you and keep it informative and frequent and helpful as much as I can. And obviously, hit subscribe if you haven't already. And so, in terms of talking about borderline and why they do so poorly in treatment, well, number one of the barriers, I just wanted to touch on this. I've talked about this in other videos. A lot of people with borderline have been compelled to be there by somebody else, usually a partner or a family member. And if you are a partner or a family member of someone who has borderline, stop trying to make them go to therapy. It doesn't work. The therapists, the world of counseling and psychology as a whole, terribly poor at treating certain things in general. We're not that good at treating addiction. We're not that good at treating trauma, and we're definitely not good at treating borderline personality disorder. You need to get it out of your head that getting them in front of the therapist is somehow going to turn that bus around. If they are compelled to be there, the success rate is low, is abysmally low. If they are there and they resent you and they resent me for being there, they're not going to get any benefit out of it. They're just not. I've never ever once heard of a successful or positive outcome with borderline when they are forced essentially to be there by a partner or family member. But without further ado, to me, one of the biggest barriers that prevents them from getting better is their willingness to not participate. their willingness to not put their effort into it, or their lack of willingness. In DBT, or dialectical behavioral therapy, which is the therapy model developed by Marsha Linehan, specifically for borderline personality disorder, one of her principles is participation. And that is that if you have borderline, show up, participate, do what you're supposed to do what you're told to do. And the thing is they are honestly, their effort, the amount of effort, if you ask me, in therapy and homework and into getting this figured out is equivalent to their success rate. And they just don't participate. They don't show up. They don't do what you want them to do. Everything that you ask them to do, they say, I don't want to. That sounds hard, or that sounds stupid, or I feel stupid. And it's like, I don't know what to tell them in those cases, because your effort is equivalent to how effectively you are going to get better. And I believe absolutely that they absolutely can. I don't know that we hold them accountable enough, but at the same time, high levels of accountability causes them to leave. So it's difficult. It's a little bit of a challenge, but I'm going to use a kind of a running metaphor here. It's like people with borderline are often like, they are probably a real long list of unhealthy mental habits. And I like to think of this almost as like a physical thing, right? Let's say that you're a personal trainer, and let's say that, a therapist is like a personal trainer, but when it comes to mental health, right? But you're an actual personal trainer, and someone shows up and they've spent decades never exercising, never eating right, never lifting a finger, expecting results without any effort, right? And maybe they're super overweight. Maybe they have no endurance, no muscle mass, no exercise or body IQ or whatever. And they show up, and this is very, very apropos. This is very similar to what we see as therapists. So if you're a personal trainer and this person shows up and they have these really bad habits, and you go, okay, let's get you on a diet. Let's change your habits at home. Let's change what you eat. Let's change when you eat, how you eat, and what quantities, what times, whatever. Get you on a diet. Let's get you on an exercise plan. I need you to do these things every day. I need you to eat this way every day, and you need to do these exercises every day, and you need to do all of this every day. And in time, you'll get where you want to go. And then as you work with this person, they come to their personal training session once or twice a week, like once or twice a week for an hour, and they go, this isn't working. And it's like, well, did you do any of your exercises? No, I think they're stupid and they're not going to work. Did you do your homework? No, it sounds stupid and I don't think it's going to work. Did you follow your diet? No, I don't think it's stupid. I think it's stupid and it's not going to work. So why are you here? Because I want to get in shape, right? And there's this, and at what point do you say, hey, look, if you want to get better, you have to do the work every day. And you go, and while they're there for that therapy or that personal training session, you're like, okay, let's do some cardio, let's do some weight training, whatever. And they go, I don't want to, it's hard. And it's like, well, do you want to get in shape? Yeah, I really do. And that is the trouble with borderline, I find, is they want to get in shape, so to speak, or they want to be mentally healthy. They want to be well. They want to be better. But the amount of effort that they put into it is non-existent. They don't put nearly the amount of effort that is required for them to actually get better. And that is one issue that I've noticed with people with borderline is I think it probably has to do with the fact that they get overwhelmed and exhausted too easily, and they just piddle out, right? And I think this is one of the reasons why I find them to be such lousy parents, is because parenting is exhausting, and they get so frustrated and fed up and exhausted by it in almost no time that it just deteriorates into a bad situation parenting wise. But going with this metaphor, if you want to get in shape, you've gotten grotesquely out of shape over decades and decades and have these bad habits, you have to show up every day. You have to do the work every day. It may take a while for you to get better. It really might. It could take a long time. Some people, it could take them a year. but it's worth it. It's worth it to them. And people with borderline are the same way. They show up in therapy. They want to be well. They want to be better. They don't put any effort into it. They don't participate. They don't show up. Their accountability's low. They expect to show up to therapy once a week for an hour. And you try to get them engaged in therapy exercises, and they go, "I don't want to do that. It's hard," or "It sounds stupid." And it's like that 1 hour a week. I don't know what it's hard. And if you have borderline and you know what I'm talking about and you kind of connect here, help me understand. People want to understand this. People want to know how to better help. They really do. We want to improve on our methods. We want to increase our effectiveness in all of this regard. So feel free to leave your comments about this. But they expect a therapist to somehow help them when they won't lift a finger. And that is true for a lot of them. It's like, I'm going to give you this homework. I don't want to do that. It sounds stupid. It sounds like it won't work. That's like saying, as a personal trainer, I expect you to go on a walk every day, and I expect you to watch what you eat, right? And then they go, "That sounds stupid. I don't think it's going to work." Okay, make me in shape now, right? And I really believe that is one of the number one barriers why they don't get better, why they don't improve, is they just refuse to participate. They refuse to take that accountability and do what it takes. Is it hard? Yeah, it is. 100% worth it. 100% worth it. What they fail to realize is what they're actually doing currently by having these emotional issues and all of this suffering day in and day out is way harder. They're already doing something very, very difficult. And I believe that they're tough. I believe that they're capable. I believe that they're very resilient. They're way those things more than they realize, but yet they won't do what it takes to get better. They expect to show up for their once a week personal training session, refuse to do any push-ups, and then come back and go, "Nothing works. This doesn't work. This is a waste of my time." Yeah, well, that's you. It's not what we do for you, it's what you do for yourself. That's the thing with borderline, is they really need to get through their walnut. Is this is you getting better is in direct proportion to the effort that you put into it, not the effort that I put into it. So that is what I have found to be the reason why people with borderline do not get better. They don't participate. So my solution for those with borderline: participate. If a therapist says do these things every day, every single day, I want you to do them, and do them. And don't, if you're going to show up and say, "I didn't do them because it feels stupid and it's not going to work," then don't go. Okay? Commit yourself to participation. Admit to yourself, "I don't know what's going to help me get better, and so I'm just going to trust and do what I'm told, and participate and show up, and just do it, and just put in the work." Okay? So that is why I believe people with borderline do not get better, do not get effective. One of the reasons why they don't get effectiveness out of treatment. That's one of the biggest barriers. Okay? Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.